Hey everybody, welcome to Xavia Fox Talk, and I am your host, Xavia Fox.
Once you become friends with individuals on Facebook, you don't always know what their intentions are. But if they post things to your wall, just saying hi or things of that nature, it could be misconstrued from your mate, thinking that, this is a new person who you're trying to set up new shop with, or however you want to put it. And with me personally, that wasn't the case, but I did have an instance where I had a female who's actually in the Chicago area who posted something to my wall on Facebook that was taken totally out of context by my mate. And it actually helped in my relationship.
Wow. Just like that? I mean, how long were you in a relationship, may I ask?
3 years.
3 years. And so, a Facebook posting that could have been interpreted in a bunch of different ways ended your relationship?
Yes. Now, I don't want to say that, we had a perfect relationship beforehand, but that was basically the final straw for her. What was said on the post was actually, there's not a lot of activity that happens on my Facebook wall. And the individual said on there that, it's empty over here. And, and basically hi or something else from that point. And the way my girlfriend at the time took it was that she was trying to say that the female was saying that her place was empty and to come by. The thing behind it is the female actually lives in a different state.
And Carl, I don't mean to cut you off, but I keep it real, and I'm having an ADHD moment right now. All these different, you're setting off different bells and stuff in my head. Interestingly enough, I differ about Facebook being a culprit and destroying. That was her interpretation of what someone had posted to you, correct?
Correct.
And so you did not respond. Is that also correct?
That is definitely correct.
Okay. I don't know, Carl. I mean, there's some. I'm sure there's some other things. Like you said, this was the final straw for her. So there were some other situations. But I guess what me and Xavia were kind of talking about, and kind of what I was sharing with Xavia, and hopefully the YouTube subscribers will also take this to heart, is that there's some of us that are in denial in our relationships. We participate in them. We're with that person, but we're not real about what that relationship really consists of. Is it I love him, but I'm not in love with him? Is it, I like her, I like our time together, but I don't see her as my future wife? And you guys can be getting along great, and both be telling each other, I love you. Okay? But as time goes on, there are things, and I know somebody in a similar situation, but they have a spouse, and we were talking, and love doesn't look the same for everybody. Even if you're in a relationship, it doesn't look the same. And so while she may have been loving you, she may not have seen long term, even though 3 years is long term by, a lot of relationship standards. She could have just been there. Some of us leave before we even make the announcement, or we go. We're already emotionally disconnected in the relationship before we ever exit. Do you think that there may have been some other dynamics?
Well, yeah, like I did say that, I'm not sitting here saying that, that was the only issue that we had, because we did have other issues. But in her eyes, infidelity was one of the things that she wasn't going to stand for, and she was feeling that was going to happen out of this conversation that was going on. And there was conversation on the post, but my actual girlfriend is the one who initiated the comments. Because I didn't respond to it, she came up on my page and on that post and said, "Oh, what? Cat got your tongue? I'll never see you this quiet." And so then it's like she she wanted to see what was going to happen from that point. Or maybe it was her way of saying, okay, this gives me a reason to get out. You know, I really can't say, but like I did
that's what it sounds like.
There were other issues that were there.
Yeah, that's what I think that, honestly, Carl, and I don't know you and I don't know her, and so it's kind of hard to, really say what it was, but that's what it sounds like. It sounds like, here was this exit, here was a way for her to exit without, having to have a real dialogue, with you about a situation, because some of us don't know how to leave, Carl. Some of us don't know how to leave. Some of us don't know, how to tell a person, yeah, we've done 3 years, but we've reached the max in our relationship. This is where we're at, and I'm not feeling this way anymore. But I know I need to move on. We don't know how to say that to the person that we shared so much with, for fear of hurting them or being the cause of somebody else's pain. But yeah, it sounds like that. That was her way of being able to exit the situation. Not because you were a bad guy, but maybe she had some other needs outside of your relationship with her. She needed your relationship and what you brought to it, but she also had a desire to have something else. And so what I was saying earlier was that, when we started talking about Facebook, destroying relationships, she engaged in that situation as well, testing the water, so to speak. You don't have to test your relationship if you're secure in it and if you plan on being in it, and the other person has also made a similar commitment. You don't have to test the waters. And so, yeah, if you guys were really at the end of your relationship, and if you go back and think about it, you'll probably kind of be able to point out some things that, you guys probably had already come to an end way before it actually happened.
Okay.
I mean, but you know better than I do, of course, You could probably pinpoint some stuff. And she probably was sending out big smoke signals, Carl. She was sending them out.
Well, that's true. Our relationship was strained, so I'm not going to say it wasn't. One of the things that I guess I had difficulties with is, we had basically just returned from a wonderful trip. Gone on the cruise for 5 days, and plus spending a couple of days in Miami.
Okay.
And then to come home,
I want to go.
Happens, I guess it kind of devastates the person. This actually was back in October when all of this transpired.
Wow.
And I would really, really be, subtle on what everything you're saying, but there's conversation today as far as what did we do wrong? How can we fix that? So I'm like, okay, if you've already said that, this relationship is over and done with, why are you trying to revisit that now and say,
absolutely,
what can we do to fix this?
Carl, I'm glad that you're asking that question, because that means that you're in a state of self-reflection right now. Do not, I repeat, and I never advise per se how a person should handle, situations, but I give my own, take on it, so to speak. But do not make any decisions that you are not okay with. You know what I'm saying? And that you've totally looked at and analyzed. Because people revisit old relationships, right, for a reason. They revisit old stuff. They go backwards, for selfish reasons a lot of times. They go back for selfish reasons. As if you don't have nothing else to do. You just sitting there waiting on her thumb wrestling yourself. Absolutely not. You need to let her know that is not on the table for consideration. Okay? Because if you guys broke up, you still have to have a period of self-reflection, a period of healing, right? To where you can be okay. Whether or not you indulge again in a relationship with her or another person, you still have to be able to be whole. And sometimes people don't want to see you with someone else and happy for real. Okay? You probably were happy with her and she probably wasn't happy with you. And she knows that you're a good guy. That had nothing to do with the situation, I promise you. If she's going to be real with you about it, she will say you weren't a bad guy. That wasn't it. Okay? And if she tells you were a bad guy, that means that now she's trying to blame shift because she faked the funk up until this last part of your relationship. So, if you are considering engaging in a relationship with her again, or even with someone else, I would definitely advise you to think about it. First and foremost, think it through. And look at what you're feeling around all this. Are you still emotional around her? Are you still considering her? Are you still thinking about, well, what if we just do that, or if I can be this guy for her? But process what you're feeling. If you're upset with her, it is okay. All right? If you are mad at her, it is all right. If you are sad, it is okay. But you need to be real about that first with yourself. And then you need to let her know, stop, invade your privacy. This is a private moment for you. Tell her to beat it. I'm sorry, but that's what it is.
Okay. Well, Carl, thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
All right. Well, thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
And it's been a pleasure. Hopefully everybody got a takeaway. Thanks again.
And I would like to say thank you for tuning in and look for our next segment. The next segment we'll be talking to business owner Victoria Knox, and she's going to talk to entrepreneurs about establishing businesses and what you need to do to get that whole thing running smooth.
All right, good stuff.
So keep tuning in.
That was good.